You have been making yourself smaller, not all at once, gradually, over years, in ways so incremental that you barely noticed each individual reduction. A soft indie opinion here, a quieter entrance there, an ambition scaled back to something more manageable, more explainable, more comfortable for the people around you to be near, and at some point the smaller version became the default version. And today, something in you is done with it. If you felt something shift reading that, hit like, it means this found you at exactly the right moment. Here is what shrinking for others actually is, beneath the language of compromise, consideration, and keeping the peace that it usually travels in. It is a recurring choice to treat your own full presence as a problem to be managed, to make yourself into something less than you are in order to ensure that the people around you remain comfortable. And it is dressed so convincingly in the language of kindness, of not being too much, of reading the room, of being the flexible one, the low maintenance one, the one who doesn't need much, that most people doing it have never identified it as a choice at all. It feels like consideration. It is self-erasure. Think of a person who has spent years living in a room that is too small for them. Not dramatically too small, just slightly. They have adapted. They have learned not to extend their arms fully. They have learned where the low ceiling is and how to angle their head. They have arranged their life inside the dimensions of the space until the constriction feels like normal, until they have stopped noticing the places where they are folded. They are not suffering, obviously. They are simply compressed, and the compression has become invisible because it has become constant. This is what shrinking for others does over time. It teaches the body and the psyche a compressed posture, a way of occupying space that has been edited in advance for the comfort of others, until the full, unedited version of yourself feels not just unfamiliar but genuinely unsafe to inhabit. The impulse to take up your actual space triggers the same internal alarm that used to go off when taking up too much space had real consequences. The alarm is still firing, the consequences are no longer real. But the alarm does not know that. Seneca wrote, Omnia lucili aliena sunt, tempest tantum nostrum, esti everything. Lucilius belongs to others, time alone is ours. He was writing about time, but the principle extends precisely here. The space you have been giving away, the room in your presence, your voice, your ambitions, your genuine opinion was never theirs to receive, it was always yours. The giving away felt like generosity. The accounting is different. What was given was not surplus. It was the primary material of your own life, handed over in installments too small to feel catastrophic, until the cumulative cost became visible. The shrinking is not the same as being humble. Genuine humility is a relationship to your own significance, a recognition that you are not the center of every situation, and that others have needs as real as yours. The shrinking is something else. It is the preemptive reduction of your own significance before anyone has asked for it, offered not from fullness but from the old fear of what happens when you take up too much space. These are not the same thing, and you have been confusing them for a long time, and here is where the real work begins. There are specific ways the shrinking shows up, the precise daily behaviors that reveal how deeply the compressed posture has installed itself. If you recognize yourself in any of these, understand what they are actually costing you. The first is editing what you say based on what you think the other person can handle hearing. Before you speak, a rapid calculation runs. Is this too much? Too direct? Too specific in its disagreement or desire? And the output of the calculation is a softened version, not a lie, exactly, but a more palatable approximation of what you actually think. You do this so quickly that you have stopped noticing the original thought before the edit. The gap between what you thought and what you said has become invisible because the editing happens in real time. Automatically, as a reflex so well trained, it no longer feels like a choice. What you are actually doing is deciding thousands of times a day that your real thoughts are too much for the people you are with. And the decision is made not by evidence, but by the old compression reflex protecting the old contracted posture. The second is taking up less physical space without being asked, sitting smaller in chairs, stepping out of the way on footpaths before it is strictly necessary, lowering your voice in rooms where a louder voice would be perfectly appropriate, choosing the smaller portion, the less visible seat, the position in the room that requires the least justification. None of these are deliberate. They are the body implementing the compressed posture automatically, the physical expression of the psychic habit of pre-reducing yourself. The body has learned, take up less, and it does, constantly below the level of conscious instruction. The third is deflecting compliments so automatically that you have stopped noticing you are doing it. Someone says something genuinely positive about you, your work, your presence, your effect on them, and before the recognition has fully landed, you are already redirecting it, minimizing, attributing it to luck or circumstance, returning it with a compliment of your own to neutralize the attention. This is not modesty. Modesty is a considered response. This is a reflex that fires before the compliment can reach the part of you that might actually receive it, because receiving it would mean agreeing that you deserve to take up the space the compliment implies, and the compressed posture has a strong opinion about that. The fourth is agreeing with positions you do not hold because disagreeing feels like too much weight to carry in that moment. Not agreeing from genuine persuasion, agreeing to end the friction, to not be the difficult one, to not require the energy that a real disagreement would demand from the room. You have your actual position, and you have the position you express, and sometimes they are the same and sometimes they are not. And you have become so practiced at managing this gap that you barely feel the cost of it in individual moments. The cost is cumulative, and the currency being paid is your own integrity in denominations too small to feel significant until you look at the total. But here's what no one tells you about what comes next. There is a specific physical sensation that happens the first time you stop shrinking in a situation where the old reflex would have fired. Not in a dramatic confrontation, in an ordinary moment, when you say what you actually think instead of the edited version. When you take the seat you wanted rather than the smaller one at the edge. When you let the compliment land without immediately redirecting it. When you hold your position in a conversation past the point where the old version of you would have capitulated to restore the peace. The sensation is not triumph. It is closer to the feeling of taking a full breath after a long period of shallow breathing. The slight dizziness of the system, adjusting to a new input volume, the awareness of capacity that was always there but had been deliberately underused. And alongside that, almost always a flicker of the old alarm. Is this too much? Have I taken up too much space? Are they uncomfortable? Is this going to cost me something? The alarm will fire. It was installed early, and it fires automatically. And the fact that it fires does not mean you have done something wrong. It means you have done something new, something that the system has not yet recalibrated to recognize as safe. And recalibration requires repetition, the accumulation of experiences where you took up your full space and the consequences were not what the alarm predicted. Over time, the alarm loses its authority, not because it goes silent, but because its predictions have been proven wrong often enough that you stop using them as navigation. Seneca wrote, "Nusquam isti qui ubique isti." He who is everywhere is nowhere. The person who has compressed themselves into every available shape to fit every room is present in none of them. Not really, not fully, not in the way that creates actual contact. The full self occupying its actual dimensions is the only version of you that anything real can reach. The compressed version is manageable, palatable, easy to accommodate, but it cannot be genuinely known. And you have been genuinely unknowable for a long time. Not because you are difficult, but because the real dimensions have not been available. Here is something to do right now. In the next conversation you have, say one thing that you would normally edit. Not something provocative, just something true that the reflex would have softened. Say it at full volume. Notice that the room does not collapse. Notice that you are still standing after. That noticing is the beginning of the recalibration. This is when everything begins to shift. You came into this video already knowing, not looking for information you didn't have, looking for confirmation of something you have been circling for months, possibly years, the knowing that the shrinking is done, that the compressed posture has served its purpose and is no longer required, that the room you have been living in is too small, and that the walls were never as permanent as they appeared, and that stepping into the actual dimensions of your own presence is not arrogance or imposition. It is simply occupying what was always yours. The permission you are looking for does not come from this video. It doesn't come from a thinker, a framework, or a well-constructed argument. It comes from the moment you stop waiting for it. Permission to take up your full space has never required external authorization. It required the collapse of the belief that external authorization was necessary. a belief that was installed before you had the capacity to question it, and that has been running below the level of examination ever since. The room is too small. It has always been too small. Not because you are too large, because you were folded to fit a space that was designed for a smaller version of you, and the walls that you have been careful not to press against. The boundaries of what is acceptable to say, to want, to be in the presence of others. Those walls were built by people who needed the compression to continue. They are not your walls. They never were. What exists on the other side of the compression? The version of your life that is available when you stop pre-reducing yourself for the comfort of others is not a destination you have to earn. It is the natural state of a person who has stopped spending energy on contraction. The energy returns. The space opens. The version of you that has been folded into the smaller rooms, and the people who stay are the ones who can be in the presence of your full dimensions without requiring you to reduce them. And the people who leave needed the compressed version, and you do not need to keep anyone who requires your compression as the price of their company. You are done shrinking. You knew it before this video started. Now you know why, and you know that the walls were never load. Walk through them. If this found you at the exact moment the compression ended, write in the comments, I'm done being small. Let's see how many of us are standing up to our full height right now. If Noctivus is new to you, subscribe. Every video here is built for the moment you stop making yourself manageable for other people. The next one goes further into what becomes available when the shrinking stops. Don't compress yourself back down before you see it.